In 2005, I made Shifting Intimacies with Guy Webster and Keith Armstrong, both of who are digital technology artists. And Shifting Intimacies is an immersive, interactive sound and video installation that was a capture for commission for the ICA. And we applied to make this work and got the funding. It was a really interesting commission for me because it was working outside of my comfort zone with two very brainy, technologically led artists. And what I brought to it was a capturing of TC's amazing body, circling on the glass house that we'd used on the house and in the film glass house, shot from above, which was then manipulated as an image into almost being a life form that was quivering and shaking, and we used a technology called the very nervous system to almost animate that video work. But also the piece had two discs of images of TC's body floating, quite embryonic, womb-like circular images on the floor, slightly raised surfaces. And the whole space in the ICA was filled with, I think it was a sort of salty dust, white dust. And the central concept behind it was how everything disintegrates, how everything falls apart. So the work was for one person to enter at a time for 10 minutes, and they would leave footprints in the dust, watch TC's beautiful body circling and disintegrating on this raised platform, top shot video. But probably the most important aspect, I suppose, of the work is that as you walk through the space, you'd be triggering, they weren't lasers, I'm not quite sure what the technical term is, but you'd be triggering sensors, sound sensors, that would alter the pace, the sound, the quality of the sonic soundtrack. And I think also affect the video and blur it and speed it up and slow it down, but mostly sonic. So every person's experience of that space would be different, would be accompanied by a different soundtrack, basically. And then you were invited to sort of walk up onto a platform where we had some more of this dust and sort of throw dust back down into the very large pit of images and dust. And I suppose that was alluding to dust is life form dying, and the casting, as you would with someone's ashes, was very much a meditative reflection on life and death. The space was very simple, black and white, minimal forms. And I think we had a lot of feedback that because you were in the space on your own and the sound was really all-encompassing, lots of speakers everywhere, that it would almost affect you inside, your internal organs would almost start to vibrate a little bit. And the sense was of being very alone in a very dark space with an embryonic image which signified life and birth, and then this casting of dust which signified, I suppose, a kind of death. And you'd come in one door, experience all of that, cast the dust and then leave. And I think people came out quite altered, actually. And I really loved working with the two men that I worked on. It was very intense at the ICA and very interesting. We shot the material in Sheffield in our usual studio with our glass house, and then transformed it into a much richer, very beautiful visual representation of the body at the ICA in London. And I think it went down really well, actually. And it's worth saying that was the last time that TC performed naked with Vincent Dance Theatre. And it's very vulnerable, and it's very much about wombs and what's it called, amniotic fluid, and circling back on yourself and into yourself, which I think we were both doing at the time. I suppose that sense of casting off and death was a metaphor for the end of a relationship with TC. I don't think we were clear about that at the time, but looking back now, I can see that it was. And to capture her athleticism and the beauty of her body on film forever was, I realise, a significant thing to do at that time because she was leaving the company. And I haven't made another interactive installation piece since making that, and it felt like a marking of a moment through a non-live performance that marked the end of a collaboration with TC, but also captured her amazing physicality forever.